Happening right now on CBS2 News for fire season. Firefighters working to contain new fires and what to expect in the coming days on those still burning. Plus, an event only happening a few times a year. Tonight's your time to see it. So keep your eyes peeled and your telescopes out and dive into the once in a blue moon event.
CBS2 News starts now.
And here's a live look out of downtown Boise right now. Skies are clear and blue and air quality is in the yellow, meaning it's moderate. What a difference from last week. We'll have your full forecast in just a few minutes, but first we'll begin with fire season. Crews continue to battle fires across Idaho. 8 new fires reported in the Salmon Chalice Forest since just last week. Officials are asking visitors to be aware of the very high fire danger. One less spark means one less wildfire. Since June 1st, forest employees have found and extinguished at least 13 abandoned campfires. On Saturday, over 260 U.S. Army soldiers from Joint Base Lewis McCord arrived in Idaho to assist in firefighting efforts. Over the weekend, these soldiers trained on firefighting techniques. Now they're being assigned to fight the West Mountain Complex in the Boise and Payette National Forests. The Snag Fire, the largest of the fires burning in that complex, that fire alone is burning an area bigger than all of Meridian. Fire crews continue working to keep it from getting any closer to Warm Lake Road. They're setting up a system of hoses, pumps, and water sources to control and contain the fire. For now, anyone planning to travel along that road will need the help of an escort. Along with the limited travel along Warm Lake Road, the fire is also limiting access to the Payette National Forest. Right now, officials are asking people who are heading to the east side of the forest to use Lick Creek Road or an even longer route over Elk Creek Summit. And South Fork Road is closed as it enters the Boise National Forest because of this fire. Crews keeping a close eye on the Bench Lake fire burning 8 miles south of Stanley, Idaho. The fire isn't growing, but pockets of heat might make some smoke given the right wind and weather conditions. Officials say these are not new fire starts, but visitors should expect to see flare-ups until snow falls. The Flat Fire burning nearly 3,600 acres 1 mile northeast of Pioneerville. Officials holding community meeting tonight for neighbors impacted by this blaze. It's at the Ray Robinson Community Hall in Idaho City. Now that starts at 6 p.m. The goal is fire personnel will be there to talk about updates and the plan moving forward. 2 traffic alerts for you. Starting today, Star Road is closed between Eustick and McMillan Roads in Meridian. They're doing gas line work and will finish up by September 6th. For your detour, use Canada Road or McDermott Road. Star and Eustick intersections will stay open so you can still access Owyhee Storm Avenue. And if you're traveling on Vista Avenue, expect some delays near the entrance of the Boise Airport. Ada County Highway District says they're working on both sides of Vista from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. now through Sunday, August 25th.
Well, the air quality has been pretty decent here in western Idaho over the last few days. We can actually see across Long Valley, even though we had that complex of fires burning to the south there, and the temperature readings continue to be very toasty. This is going to be more than likely the last of the really warm days we're going to be seeing at least for a while. 97 degrees right now in Mountain Home, 94 degrees currently in Boise. All of these numbers you see here are about 3 to 5 degrees above average for this time of the year, and McCall is currently in the low 80s. Some big changes on the way as that counterclockwise swirl, which is sitting off the coastline right now, starts moving inland later on this weekend. And as it does, it's going to bring a big change to our pattern. But for right now, overnight lows 62 degrees, high temperatures tomorrow, not as warm as it was today, mostly sunny skies with a high temperature of 88 degrees. We'll talk about how that trough of low pressure is going to be affecting us and what it will do to this weekend in just a few minutes.
As we wrap up summer, the float season is also winding down on the Boise River. Labor Day marks the last day of the official Float the Boise season each year, and starting next week, equipment rentals and shuttle bus services will be closed Monday through Thursday during these last 2 weeks of float season. Now, floating services will still be open Friday through Sunday each weekend until the season ends September 3rd. The city of Nampa hoping to get your feedback. Officials holding a budget hearing tonight. The meeting starts at 6 p.m. People can sign up to speak in person. The meeting is at Nampa City Hall and Council Chambers. After the meeting, the City Council will vote on the budget, which goes into effect on October 1st. Well, AAA expects a busy Labor Day weekend to cap off a record-breaking summer travel season. American Airlines says they'll be flying nearly 4 million people. Chris Van Cleve reports many flyers are choosing some unexpected destinations.
Naveen Chopra is hoping to beat the Labor Day rush by squeezing in one last summer trip with his family now, trading the blistering heat of Phoenix for Calgary.
Before the kids go back into college, and then just having some time before everyone's back in the offices and school.
AAA says domestic travel will be the focus this Labor Day weekend, trending up 9% over last year. The cost to fly is down about 6%, and gas prices are roughly 44 cents a gallon cheaper than this time last year. United Airlines expects Friday, August 30th to be its busiest day of the long holiday weekend.
Overall, this summer has been busier than last summer.
AAA says the top destination, Seattle, driven by a nearly 30% surge in Alaskan cruises, helping Anchorage and Juneau, Alaska make their top 10 list.
There is this desire to go cruising, primarily because people can budget that vacation ahead of time. You know how much you're going to spend on drinks, you know how much you're going to spend on lodging, so you don't have to worry about it too much.
Travel website Priceline says while Europe and beach destinations are always big, the return of college football and the U.S. Open in New York are also going to be big draws. And CEO Brett Keller.
Event tourism has really taken off over the last couple of years, and this Labor Day in particular, big college towns are taking off. Atlanta, Miami, Nashville. There's a lot of people chasing sporting events as well as concerts.
Is it too late to start thinking about Labor Day weekend?
It's not too late to start thinking about Labor Day weekend. And if you're flexible with your destination, that really opens you up to cherry pick and find a location that fits your needs at a great price.
For one last taste of record-breaking summer travel, Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Phoenix.
Well, it's day one of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. It's an event that has changed in just about every way possible over the last few weeks. Our national correspondent Christine Frizao is in Chicago with a look at how it's all coming together.
Tonight we'll hear from the man we thought this entire convention would be based around, President Joe Biden. And this is historic. He stepped aside to make room for his Vice President Kamala Harris. But he is insisting that tonight is not about looking back, but about what the future of this country can and should be. The stage is set for a convention that just 1 month ago appeared would have a very different feel.
We're seeing now a burst of excitement and energy, but also people who want to work to make sure they win. And I think that is extremely important because the election, of course, is going to be tight.
Instead of running for a second term, President Joe Biden expected to pass the baton to his partner these last 4 years, Vice President Kamala Harris. Tonight's theme, For the People, an echo of Harris's campaign slogan when she ran in the 2020 election, dropping out before the primaries officially began.
She's going to be there tonight and through the week for economic justice, justice for all families in America. And so it's just so fitting that that's the theme that we're kicking off tonight.
President Biden expected to focus on a term that began in the depths of a COVID-stricken country, touting their joint accomplishments, as former President Trump ties them together on vulnerabilities like inflation and the border. Choreographed unity inside the convention center, standing in sharp contrast to demonstrations outside. Protesters continue to demand major changes in policy on Israel's war in Gaza.
Our demands are directly connected to Palestine because the government continues to send tens of billions of dollars to Israel while there's a deterioration in living conditions for people in this country.
After his speech tonight, the president and First Lady Jill Biden will head to California for vacation and perhaps, like most Americans, watch the rest of this convention on TV. In Chicago, I'm Christine Frizzau.
Coming up, ready to tee up. The Albertsons Boise Open is back and the fairways are looking fine. What you need to know is the pro golfers get ready to tee off and the concerts to follow. Plus, our chief meteorologist Roland Stedham gives us a bird's eye view of one of the biggest wildfires in Idaho history. We'll be right back.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
It's monsoon season in Utah. A weekend thunderstorm brought significant lightning and eerie-looking clouds to the Beehive State. Heavy rain also led to minor flooding southwest of Salt Lake City. And hopefully the weather will allow you to see tonight's rare blue supermoon. That means its orbit is now closest to Earth, making it appear 14% larger and 30% brighter than normal.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
On August 5th, we had a cluster of thunderstorms that moved in from Oregon, igniting a number of fires around the Gem State, including this massive fire. This is Squaw Butte, just north of Emmett. What you're seeing there is charred ground. This generated the worst air quality that we had seen this summer. It burned for almost 2 weeks, and now the fire is out. But here's an aerial assessment of what the fire has done.
Okay, guys, I'm going to go take you to the largest fire that has burned so far this season in the Gem State. It is the Paddock Fire, and it is just north of Emmett, so let's go ahead and go. Okay, so I just departed Emmett, a little bit on the hazy side today, and now I can see with real good clarity what's happening on the top of Squaw Butte. this mountain has burned. I'm just shocked. It's going to come back. There's absolutely no doubt this kind of grass rangeland will come back, and it will come back healthier than ever before. The real estate that was affected by this is huge. 187,000 acres is a tremendous amount of property. That's the size of real estate if you were to draw a line between Middleton through Star, Eagle, Boise, all of Meridian, back up Interstate 84 to Middleton. That's about the same appropriate acreage. The report that I got is that one house burned, and ironically, it was a firefighter's house that ended up burning. I mean, that's just absolutely tragic, but flying around, I count 1, 2, 3, there's probably 15 to 20 structures that I can see from this bird's eye perspective where the fire came very, very close to the edge of the property, but the fire breaks or the firefighters ended up saving those dwellings. I mean, look at this right here is a prime example. The fire break that was created by the dozers prevented the fire from crossing and affecting additional houses. I never realized before how much a fire break is essential when you're trying to control the spread of these fires. But a lot of I'd say the biggest problem with this fire is a lot of the natural grazing properties where these cattle will graze is gone. It's turned to char. And look at all this livestock right here. All this livestock right here is looking for a new place to graze. Probably pushed out of where they were because of the burn scar. Okay, I want to show you one more place. I don't know what dirt road this is, but this is a road. I'm so back into the foothills here that not exactly. I know I'm 11 miles north of Emmett right now, so this is 11 miles north. But look at these properties right here and tell me that these folks here weren't saying a couple of prayers as they had fire on the east side of their property and on the west side of their property. Wow. I would have been praying very hard.
And now what we're hoping for is that we don't get any severe thunderstorms that moves over that massive burn scar, because if we do, what's going to happen is that we could trigger flash flooding. There is no vegetation to hold back water that starts running downhill, and as a result, it can cause real problems like we had last week over the Cow Valley and Durkee fire, where flash flood warnings were issued. So right now, the air quality is looking pretty good throughout much of the state. There's one new fire complex. It's the Wapiti fire, and it's located right here near Grand Jean, and you can see the flows taking the smoke, and it's blowing it from the south to the north, keeping it away from much of western and southern Idaho. But all things considered, it looks like the air quality should hang in there and should be pretty decent here over the next few days. Now, the temperature readings today, again, we're in the mid-90s. Tomorrow, we're going into the upper 80s, 85 degrees on Wednesday. Then we spike a little bit on Thursday because there's a trough of low pressure that comes in here on Friday into Saturday. And look at the temperatures going from 92 on Thursday down to 76 degrees on Saturday, and there's even the possibility of a couple of showers. So the breakdown of what the atmosphere is going to be doing over the next few days is the following. We obviously have high pressure giving us the really warm temperature readings and that south flow. But this is the feature that has my attention. I'm going to call it a low pressure center that's packing just a touch of autumn. For right now, that low is going to stay right off the coastline. It's almost stationary. We're going to stay on the sunny and warm side for right now. It's Friday, Saturday into Sunday when that trough of low pressure starts moving inland. And as it does, it could bring cooler than normal temperature readings this weekend. I'm talking highs in the valley in the 70s, and there may be a couple of showers. I think the mountains, areas north of the Treasure Valley, will have the best potential of seeing the shower activity. But for us here in the valley itself, If we see a shower, I think we'll be lucky, but you'll definitely feel the cool air. So there's the mostly sunny skies we get tomorrow. Sunny to partly cloudy conditions we'll get on Wednesday, and the 70 outlook for the Treasure Valley itself. I'm going to go with generally sunny skies through Thursday. A few more clouds on Friday. Mostly cloudy on Saturday. There may be a shower on Saturday. Look at the temperature dropping to 76. On Sunday, partly cloudy and 78 degrees. In the mountains, a little different story. Sunny to partly cloudy skies through Friday with highs dropping into the 70s, and then a chance of a shower or two on Saturday and maybe even on Sunday. But temperatures in the high country this weekend go into the 60s.
Coming up on CBS 2 News, Carry On My Wayward Son. If you don't want to hear me sing that song, you can catch the original band, Kansas, performing the classic hit live tonight. More details on the Western Idaho Fair when we return. Happening tonight, concerts at the Western Idaho Fair are kicking off. Tonight, Kansas taking the stage at 8 p.m. and the boys from Topeka can rock. 9 gold albums, 3 multi-platinum albums, everything will be dust in the wind by show close. Tomorrow, it's $2 Tuesday. From noon to 4, you can get tickets, rides, and enjoy the food menus for just $2. That's the best deal in town. For concert details and more fun activities to check out, just go to idahonews.com, and we hope to see you there. Well, looking ahead, more concert fun to look forward to this week. The Albertsons Boise Open begins on Thursday. Things kick off with golf in the morning at the Hillcrest Country Club. Then you can head on over and enjoy some live music. Thursday is John Pardee, Friday, Daryl Hall, and Saturday, the Goo Goo Dolls. But Tickets for Sunday are the only ones available, which does not include a concert, but the Albertsons Open does have a link to find resale tickets on their website, so definitely worth it to check it out, see if you can get some tickets to any one of those shows. Concerts will start following golf every evening, and that's around 7:30 p.m. Coming up on CBS2 News, more action for you. The Spirit of Boise Balloon Classic. That's not an event that you want to skip out on this year. We'll get you excited for that as well. Plus, get out those telescopes and get away from the city lights. This event only comes once in a blue moon. We'll be right back.
CBS2 News starts now.
Today, we're finding out more about U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland's visit to Idaho last week. Savannah Hankard spoke with the U.S. Attorney for the District of Idaho, who is telling us more details on the outcome of that meeting.
The meeting covered a lot of common ground: the fight against fentanyl, support for law enforcement officers, and the Attorney General's commitment to supporting the well-being of officers around the country, including here in Idaho.
Garland began the meeting congratulating Idaho on a few recent cases of criminal prosecution.
These examples are just a snapshot of the work that this office is doing every single day on behalf of the people of Idaho to fulfill the Justice Department's mission to keep our communities safe, protect civil rights.
Hurwitz said the Attorney General also shared some of the things the department is doing internationally to curb the distribution of the drug.
There have been a series of indictments against Chinese companies and Chinese individuals who are making these precursor chemicals, which make their way to the cartels in Mexico and then are manufactured into the actual fentanyl powders and pills.
The Ada and Canyon County sheriffs, as well as the police chiefs from Boise, Meridian, Nampa, and Caldwell attended and explained what they're doing here.
It was a good sort of eye-opener, I think, for us here to hear about some of the things that we talked about, and also an eye-opener for the folks from DC who visited to know not only what a problem we have with fentanyl, but also some of the organic solutions that we're developing together.
Hurwitz said he's proud of our law enforcement relationships that were showcased in the meeting.
I think the Attorney General got a sense of what makes Idaho such a great place, is that from the law enforcement community, we're focused on the same goal, which is everyone's safety and keeping Idaho a wonderful place to live.
Idaho isn't the only state Garland has visited. He's continuing to neighboring states to speak with law enforcement and state AGs about combating violent crime and the dangers of illegal drugs. Reporting in studio, I'm Savannah Hankard.
Happening tonight, as we told you earlier in the newscast, the Democratic National Convention, and delegates in Chicago are voting on the party's official platform. Many are paying close attention to Kamala Harris's economic plans, especially when it comes to how Democrats want to address inflation. Our national correspondent Atra El-Nashar takes a closer look.
The 2024 Democratic Party platform is out, and more than a third of the 90-page document focuses on the economy. Democrats putting an emphasis on corporate greed they say is stifling competition and inflating costs, saying they will keep working to boost supply, fix supply chains, and promote competition. The party also embraces a crackdown on price gouging, which mirrors Vice President Kamala Harris's announcement last week that she'd call for the first ever federal ban on food price gouging.
We all know that prices went up during the pandemic when the supply chains shut down and failed. But our supply chains have now improved, and prices are still too high.
42 states and territories already have laws against price gouging. A federal ban on food price gouging would need congressional approval, but critics say Harris's idea is counterproductive. Let's take a look at the cost of bread, which is up more than 40% since the start of the pandemic. You have to factor in the cost of ingredients, of labor, of packaging, also transporting the product. And then when it finally gets to the grocery store shelf, the store has to make a profit. So economists say if you put a price cap on the final product, there will be consequences all the way down the supply chain.
It is dangerous nonsense.
That was former Treasury Secretary under President Clinton, Larry Summers, back in 2022, when Democrats in Congress wanted to take on what they said was corporate price gouging.
There is no material prospect that in any enduring way gouging legislation can have any substantial effect on inflationary pressure.
If Harris wins, she'd likely be looking at different economic conditions than when this platform was created. The inflation rate is steadily declining toward the Federal Reserve's target rate of 2%, and an expected September interest rate cut is set to give companies and Americans more buying power. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar for the National Desk, America's News Now.
Cameras ready. The Spirit of Boise Balloon Classic is nearly upon us. One of the most photographed events in Boise returns August 28th, Labor Day weekend. Each morning, hot air balloons will take off from Ann Morrison Park. It makes for the perfect ending to a memorable summer.
After a summer of heat, humidity, and just about all the craziness in politics, we need a break. And in Boise, it's about balloons, it's about unity, and it's about how high can you go?
And they can go high indeed. That's Kevin Miller from 580 KIDO Talk Radio. Town Square Media Group helps keep the event free for everyone. Thousands will be in the crowd to watch those balloons, and everyone who's attended this event knows just how important it is for the community.
And regardless, if you're liberal, conservative, whomever, we all come together right before the kickoff of the fall campaign.
And we're proud to once again be the exclusive TV home of the Spirit of Boise, and we'll be there live all morning and on Friday evening for Night Glow. We hope you'll join us out at Ann Morrison Park Labor Day weekend. Stop by and say hello. Well, coming up on CBS2 News, fish keepers, check your aquarium products. The odd discovery found right here in Idaho. You want your kids to eat a lunch that's good for them, but packing that same turkey sandwich every day can get a little bit boring. Mandy Gaither has 10 healthy ideas to help you break out of that packed school lunch rut.
It's not always easy packing healthy lunches that kids will actually eat.
We want to put multiple different food groups in there so we can help our kids have the energy they need to get through that school day.
Registered dietitian Catherine Sherry says parents can easily make lunch healthy and fun. Try cold pasta salad with whole wheat pasta, Italian dressing, some veggies and cheese. Add a side of fruit and hard-boiled eggs for protein. Finger food buffets, low sodium turkey, cheese, whole wheat crackers, cooked green beans, apple slices, and nut or seed butter. Chicken and guacamole, use rotisserie chicken and whole wheat pita slices, toss in carrots and dip, and some grapes. Nut or seed butter cracker sandwiches, add Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, some sliced bell peppers, and berries. Deconstructed tacos, ground turkey or beef with taco seasoning and all the fixings, add a side of watermelon. Try chicken salad with whole wheat crackers, veggies, and fruit. Roll up your low-sodium deli meat around string cheese, add hummus to dip celery and pita in, and a banana. Leftover pasta, tortellini tastes great cold. Add a fruit cup and a veggie. A chicken wrap. Use a whole wheat tortilla, rotisserie chicken, veggies and cheese, maybe some sliced cucumber and ranch to dip. Finally, chicken cubes with barbecue to dip. Carrots, a fruit, and some homemade trail mix. Sherry says to also involve your children.
Having them help you pack it is going to make them more likely to eat it.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The cost of back-to-school shopping really adds up, with nearly 1 in 4 shoppers taking on credit card debt. A new survey from Bankrate found nearly half of back-to-school shoppers are finding ways to save money, like looking for deals or coupons, buying cheaper brands, or buying fewer supplies than before. But those numbers are actually down from 2 years ago when inflation soared. Bankrate analysts say many shoppers aren't feeling as tight of a squeeze this year, but it's important to stay vigilant about paying off debt and planning for those purchases.
The counterclockwise swirl you see off the coast there of Washington, that's something that's going to get our attention later this weekend. That forecast is next.
Republicans released their long-awaited impeachment report on President Joe Biden. I'm Matt Gelka in Washington, and I'll have the breakdown of that report coming up.
The long-awaited report from Republicans on their impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden was released this morning. National correspondent Matt Gelke tells us what's inside that report.
The nearly 300-page report from House Republicans outlines their case against President Joe Biden. The report accuses Biden of abusing his power and obstructing the investigation, with Republicans deeming both of those actions impeachable offenses. The inquiry into the president had been going on for nearly a year.
And as 3 different Biden associates have testified, Joe Biden was a central figure in the Biden family influence peddling scheme. He knew full well what his family was doing.
It centered around Biden's time as vice president and alleged influence peddling with his son Hunter and his brother James and their foreign business deals.
And there's plenty of evidence that the family members received a lot of money from foreign entities from Romania, Ukraine, Russia, and China, and that they were seeking a favorable treatment from the U.S. government.
The report states, quote, "It is inconceivable that President Biden did not understand that he was taking part in an effort to enrich his family by abusing his office of public trust." The White House has repeatedly denied wrongdoing throughout the course of the investigation.
It is baseless, it is a political stunt, and it has not proven that the president has done anything wrong. And so they are wasting their time. They are wasting the American people's time.
What the report does not have is any direct evidence or proof that then Vice President Joe Biden received any money or engaged in quid pro quo on behalf of his family. House Democrats on the Oversight Committee released a counter memo on Monday, saying in part, this mountain of evidence definitively proves that Joe Biden did not commit any wrongdoing, let alone any high crime, misdemeanor, or other impeachable offense. The politics have dramatically changed since the start of the investigation until now. President Joe Biden is outgoing and no longer seeking re-election. It remains to be seen if Republicans would seek an impeachment vote or shift their focus to the general election and Kamala Harris. For the National Desk in Washington, I'm Matt Gelke.
All right, now Roland Stedham joins us with the weather. Beautiful day out there across the Treasure Valley. Fantastic. Not hot.
It's not, well, it was a little bit on the warm side today. I don't know about you, when the temperature readings start pushing into the mid-90s,
yeah.
I'm like...
I guess when I'm driving in and it's 11 a.m., 12, it feels so nice out there at that point.
Do you come into work that early?
Yeah, I get in. You know I do.
Why?
I'm here because I like to work, man. That's what I do.
There's something wrong. We got to have a little chat at dinner. That's too long of a day, bro. All right, there's a live shot from the top of Schaefer Butte, folks, and there's Bogus Basin, and there's the Treasure Valley, and we can see the Treasure Valley. So air quality is decent. At least we can, from the valley, make out the outlines, and we can see the mountains clearly. Anytime you have a day like that in the months of July or August, you know you're doing okay, all things considered, because, boy, it can be miserable. Just 2 weeks ago, we could barely see the top of Bogus Basin. So looking from the airport up toward the mountains there, you can see the mountains nice and clear, but the temperature readings are in the mid-90s. These numbers are still about 5 to 6 degrees above normal for this time of the year. The numbers are gradually going to be on their way down, so lots of sunshine is expected this week. Near normal temperature readings after today. We'll see those numbers coming down. And then it's going to be turning cool this weekend, and there could be a couple of showers. I think a better chance of shower activity in the mountains, but here in the Treasure Valley, with the pattern that's headed this way, I wouldn't be surprised to see a little spotty shower or two on Saturday. For right now, it's going to be warm and it's going to be dry because the high pressure ridge is still anchored out here over the Intermountain West. But this is the feature I'm watching. This low pressure center, according to the model data, will be packing enough cool air that by Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be thinking it almost feels like a touch of autumn. It's moving inland for sure. But for right now, we'll see plenty of sunshine. Then as this trough of low pressure slides in here on Friday, Saturday, and starts to move out of the area on Sunday, the biggest contribution it's going to be making to us is that it will bring cleaner air and it will bring cooler temperatures this weekend. And again, I just want to emphasize that maybe a couple of showers as the trough moves on in. So forecast region by region, Long Valley tomorrow 79 degrees in McCall, so a little bit cooler tomorrow by about 3 to 5 degrees than it was today because the high pressure is showing signs of weakening just a little bit. Emmett at 90 degrees, Payette at 89 degrees, Nampa 88, Kuna at 89, Caldwell at 88 tomorrow, and Boise will see a high not in the mid 90s but in the upper 80s, and overnight lows tonight right around 60 degrees. Should be a beautiful night to get out there and enjoy that gorgeous full moon that we're going to be seeing. And it's going to be really like a spotlight in the sky. So there's the temperature reading swinging downward. Then it spikes up just a little bit on Thursday ahead of the trough that moves in on Friday. And then mostly cloudy on Saturday with a high of 76, partly cloudy, and 78 degrees on Sunday. And the mountains will be seeing sunny to partly cloudy skies through Friday with a chance of some rain on Saturday, partly cloudy on Sunday. But look at the mountain temperature readings on Saturday and Sunday dropping into the 60s.
Well, many states are facing declines in remote work, but the opposite may be true for company CEOs. The National Desk's Angela Brown takes a closer look.
Talk to CEOs. Many are saying come back to the office, like the CEO of Amazon.
I just noticed that we've kind of gotten back to our culture more since we've been back.
Talk to employees. They want remote work. Licensed counselor Dayshell Barco helps women in the workforce.
It's helped to keep women in and people coming back to it because there's some more flexibility, I think, within remote work.
But there may be a divide about who's coming back to the office and who is not. Bloomberg is reporting remote work is becoming more common for CEOs, while a ZipRecruiter survey published in Forbes found 11.7% of job listings were remote from January to June of 2024. Now that's comparable to 2023, but down from 2022 from over 13%. Ashley Goodall, former executive at Deloitte.
Many people got to see what it could be like if the balance of power shifted a little bit to more employee and less people saying, come to the office, you have to come to the office.
So where is remote work declining or growing? A July report in Prism Research says Louisiana saw a 7.2% increase in remote job listings from January to June of 2024 compared to the same period in 2023, while Massachusetts saw the biggest decline. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
The Federal Reserve Bank of New York's latest survey on consumer labor market experiences and expectations showed job, wage, and benefits satisfaction all sank in July. It also found the average expected likelihood of becoming unemployed rose to 4.4%. Now that's the highest on record for the survey, which was started 10 years ago. When we come back, NASA says it's a rare sight. What to expect from tonight's blue supermoon. It should be a beauty. Daytime talk show pioneer Phil Donahue passes away. Donahue's publicist saying he died peacefully last night after a long illness, surrounded by his family. He launched the Phil Donahue Show in 1967, was syndicated nationally 3 years later, and had a 29-year run on the airwaves, totaling more than 6,000 episodes. He won 20 Emmy Awards, a Peabody, and induction into the Television Academy Hall of Fame. President Biden, who you just saw, awarded Donahue the Presidential Medal of Freedom earlier this year, and the White House called Donahue one of the most influential television programs of all time. Donahue was 88 years old. A high-profile would-be fine art fraud was foiled after authorities stopped a man traveling in Europe who was seeking millions for a forged painting. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Investigators in Spain say they busted a suspect trying to smuggle a fake Leonardo da Vinci painting and with paperwork claiming the forgery was worth millions. The man was stopped with the fraudulent work on his way from Spain to Milan, Italy, where officials believe he was trying to sell the painting using not a verification of authenticity, but instead an expired export license, claiming the work was valued at roughly $1.4 million. The painting was examined at Madrid Art Museum, was ultimately ruled a fraudulent reproduction, and the alleged would-be art dealer was arrested. And from a fugazi, that's a fake, to the real deal caught on camera. Officials at the Phoenix Zoo say they were left in disbelief when footage from a mountain trail camera revealed the area's first sighting of an honest-to-goodness ocelot in half a century. Ocelots are a wild big cat about twice the size of a typical house cat and are an endangered species in the U.S. That would explain why this trail cam capture of the ocelot's cameo was not only a welcome sight, but one that, according to a zoo official, sent chills through their body. Finally, another rare sight, but one that never fails to please, was the annual running of the T-Rexes at Washington's Emerald Downs Racecourse. In front of a crowd of about 6,000, multiple events for men, women, senior, and kid competitors saw calamitous clusters of costume carnivores competing for glory in a dynamite display of prehistoric hysterics, at least one of which ended in an exciting photo finish. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, check your freezer. There's a frozen chicken recall. Purdue Foods is recalling more than 167,000 pounds of frozen chicken nuggets and tenders. Some customers reported finding metal wire embedded in the products. The recall covers Purdue breaded chicken tenders and 2 types of chicken breast nuggets. Now, there are no reports of injuries or adverse reactions to date. Caitlin Clark breaks yet another record in the Indiana Fever's 92-75 win over the Seattle Storm on Sunday. Clark broke the WNBA single-season rookie record for assists. She had 9 in yesterday's game, bringing her total to 232 assists this season, breaking the previous rookie record of 224. Clark currently leads the league in assists at 8.3 per game. Kids, make note, assists win games too. Well, fish keepers, listen up. Idaho State Department of Agriculture announcing the detection of non-living zebra mussels in Marimo mossballs sold across our state. ISDA says if you see them, don't let it loose and don't dump your tank water in the sink or down drains. They're investigating local pet and aquarium stores to ensure products being sold are clean. We'll keep you updated on this. A rare form of full moon will be lighting up the night sky tonight. NASA says tonight's moon will be a super blue moon. It's also the first of 4 supermoons to rise this year. NASA says a supermoon happens when there's a full moon at the same time that the moon's orbit is closest to the Earth. It makes the moon appear bigger and brighter, only happening a few times a year. So grab your favorite beverage, find a patio, look up, and soak it in. Last night's moon was cool, but this one should be stellar. Have a great one, everyone. We'll see you right back here at 5:30.
Take the news with you on the radio. News Talk KBOI. And for news and information 24 hours a day, click on idahonews.com. The CBS Evening News is coming up next. And watch for your next local newscast on CBS2 tonight at 5:30. Connect with CBS2 for local news.